see you, Senator Paul, and we appreciate your taking the time to be with us. What's your reaction to what Senator Reid just had to say?
I'm a bit perplexed. Are these the same Democrats who didn't pass any appropriations bills, didn't pass a budget, and have not yet even voted on any kind of continuing resolution? The Republicans have passed a plan. We haven't had any votes over in the Senate. We're waiting around with all the Democrats saying the government's going to be shut down so they can blame it on someone else. The truth of the matter is quite different. I've actually introduced a bill today that I hope will get heard, and it's called the Government Shutdown Prevention Act. We're trying to keep government going, but we do want to reduce spending. The American people in the election said, you know what, you're spending too much. $1.6 trillion deficits. We have to do something about it, and we plan on trying to cut spending up here.
So I have from your office sent us a release about your bill, the Government Shutdown Prevention Act of 2011. You had 11 bullet points. I wanted to ask you about a couple of them. And first, let's go straight to the heart of it. This has gotten so much conversation, Senator Paul. That, of course, is abortion and whether it is being put at the center of a fiscal issue as an issue of social policy. Point number 10 on your commentary, the executive branch is directed to expend no federal funds to provide abortion services or to agencies who provide abortion services. Your office confirmed that would include Planned Parenthood. Why does abortion need to be part of this?
Well, I think we're starting with what divides us instead of what should bring us together. If you look at the first 10 items of it, you'll say that we continue to pay our soldiers. We continue to provide Social Security checks and Medicare. We continue to have 800,000 employees employed. We pay them at 75% of what we would pay them, and we pay congressmen and senators zero till they come to an agreement. This is not a permanent arrangement. This is a temporary arrangement. The thing is you won't get a lot of Republicans to vote for it if it includes funding for things like Planned Parenthood. But that's the facts of the matter. But if you want to have the government not shut down, they will have to somehow compromise with our side. To me, the compromise is let's keep government running, but at a reduced level. But then let's do something real. Let's try to balance the budget. Let's have a balanced budget amendment.
That the American people would want abortion to become a central part of this? I mean, we threw the numbers up, and I want to make sure I read them to you just because they were up as you were speaking. In terms of the deficit, according to the CBO, projected this year at $1.6 trillion, federal funding for Planned Parenthood, which, as we all know, does a lot of things in addition to counseling for abortion, which it does not do with federal money, $363 million. Do you feel comfortable saying that 363 is worth holding up the whole budget for?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think I would ask the opposite question. Why are the Democrats willing to shut down the government over a couple of $2 billion? We have a $1.6 trillion deficit in 1 year, and we're talking about the difference between cutting $30 billion or $60 billion. It's less than 1% of 1 year's spending. That's what we're talking about, and the American people do want us to do something about the spending. Whether or not the riders is not something that could be negotiated at some point, that's really not something that I have a say in. What I do have a say in is that the American people want to cut spending, and I will stand fast to that.
It seems that the American people, at least from polls, are frustrated at everybody, frustrated at the president, frustrated Democrat, frustrated at Republicans, less frustrated relatively to the Tea Party than they are at those others. But you know, holding it up for a couple $2 billion sounds ridiculous to people. Holding it up and putting it as a bullet point for something like abortion sounds equally as ridiculous to many people. Is there a compromise on this or not?
Well, that's part of what our proposal is I think is a compromise, because the thing is it's not an either-or situation. It's not either everybody gets what they want or we shut it down. How about everybody gets some of the things they want and we don't shut it down? So my bill is the Government Shutdown Prevention, and it funds things, but only partially. Some things it doesn't fund, and that may be part of the discussion. But what happens is congressmen get no pay, and I think that might be an incentive for congressmen and senators to get together and find a solution.
Right. I guess just what I'm getting at is when you look through this, and I know it's been a lot of the talk out there, but the abortion part really stands out as sort of why is that there? Because to your point, your top bullet points are Social Security will send out all checks for current retirees and accept all new benefit applications, Medicare and Medicaid, similar situations. So let me ask you this question. Can you read into this that you, like many others, are not willing to make massive cuts to Social Security or Medicare in the big picture.
No, absolutely not. In fact, next week, I, along with Senator Graham and Senator Lee, will be releasing a Social Security fix, where we do fix Social Security by gradually allowing some changes in eligibility. We're also working on a Medicare fix, which will include some of Paul Ryan's plans, as well as allowing the age of eligibility to gradually rise. We can fix these things. The American people are ready for leadership on these. I think the president is the one that's abdicated. They won't touch entitlements because they're petrified, whereas I see that it's such a problem that I'm more than willing to get out there and touch the third rail and say, you know what, let's fix it before nobody gets any Social Security.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Senator Paul. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And now let's bring John Harwood back in for some reaction. John, what's your takeaway to what Senator Paul just had to say, particularly on this issue?